Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Mind the Moments Tuesday morning gathering brought to you by Harvard Pilgrim Healthcare and Tufts Health Plan. This is a place where we invite experienced mindfulness instructors to speak with us about what mindfulness means to them and to discuss as a community how we can incorporate these practices into our daily lives. I'm Suzanne Rowe Palacino, and I'm very, very happy to be here this morning with Zeenat Potia, one of our mindfulness instructors with Harvard Pilgrim Healthcare. Good morning, Zeenat.
Good morning, Suzanne. So delighted to be with you, and a warm welcome to everyone.
Yes, thank you. Definitely a warm welcome to everyone this morning for sure. And if there's anyone new, we are especially happy to see you here this morning. So you know how our webinar goes. We will start off with a question. So Zeenat will pose that to the group and she'll share some thoughts with us and we'll get right into meditation practice. The practice usually lasts around 12 minutes or a little bit longer. There'll be some guidance throughout and then some time for practice in silence. So it's a good mix of both. So you can get used to each of those types of practice. And so there we are. We'll start off with the questions, Zeenat, when you're ready.
Okay, thank you, Suzanne. So I wanted to invite you to reflect on if there is a project or something in your life that you want to start over with. So our session today is inspired by Thich Nhat Hanh's teaching of beginning of beginning anew or beginning again. And so it could be something within yourself that you want to reconcile. It could be something with another person or a relational thing that you wish to do over or start again with. So anything at all. It's a very broad question in terms of beginning anew, but just take a moment and get quiet and reflect on, is there something there often a million things one wants to begin again with, but to choose one and to share that with this community and the chat would be a gift for all.
Okay, that's a great question. Yeah. And I could start. A couple of things came to mind, but the one that I've been thinking about doing that I've yet to do, and it's not something, well, painting. I'd like to start painting again. And it's something that I haven't done for a while. And then also playing the piano.
Beautiful.
Things, yeah, that I'd like to do.
Thank you.
Yeah. How about you?
I love how they're both artistic pursuits.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like I'm traveling right now near the ocean, and I feel like many times I look at different types of scenery and I think, oh, that would be beautiful to paint. So it's my inspiration. And how about you, Zeenat? Anything come to mind for you?
I think that I would like to recommit to longer sitting meditations. Practice ebbs and flows. And I do a lot of mindfulness throughout the day, and I do keep up with a formal sitting practice. But over the summer, it felt like the sitting has gotten shorter and shorter. And I really like doing longer sits when I can commit to them. So I feel like September is a great time to get back to a longer sitting meditation for me. I'd like to begin that again.
Yeah. Yeah, especially when you have kids in school. It allows you that.
That's right. Although I usually, my tendency is to front load it. So I really wake up very early in the morning, and then it kind of sets me up for the day.
Yeah. Oh, that's a lovely pursuit for sure.
It's like we have some responses in the chats too.
Yeah. Started a 30-day return to eating better. Have these habits, but lost track of them over the summer. It's easy to do. Yeah, that's wonderful. Living without a car again. New to me car and taking.
Mm. I love the oppositionality of living without a car and then taking care of a new car. Getting back to journaling, it's such a mindfulness practice to journal, to reflect on one's day and one's life. And the fresh start in relationship, beautiful, with the life partner. Beautiful. Thank you all for sharing. Let's transition to practice. So coming into a comfortable posture, finding some uplift, however you are, and please know that sitting is just one of the 4 practice shapes. You can sit, you can lay down or stand, and we're not doing walking meditation, but that's the 4th, to always remember whichever shape you take, to give yourself that contact that there's other possibilities. And then shoulders can relax back and down. And if you feel comfortable, gently closing the eyes, or you can practice with a soft gaze. And in the spirit of Thich Nhat Hanh, Vietnamese Zen Buddhist teacher who passed earlier this year, if you're not familiar with him and his teachings, he often invited students to open to an inner smile, a smile that is born of settling and finding home in the simplicity of the here and now. And so Thai said was the name that people called him, his beloved teacher, that one can always begin again. This practice of beginning anew. Each breath is a possibility of a fresh start. There's something very comforting when we can really lean into and absorb the reality of this teaching. It's very freeing. Okay. So, we all mess up, we make mistakes, we do unskillful things, we hurt ourselves, we hurt others. And there is the possibility to make a different choice. Each morning we get brand new 24 hours, untouched, to be and to live in alignment with our deepest aspirations. This is a gift that we each get. And to remember, to keep remembering, not to take it for granted. So how do we practice? This sounds incredibly amazing and feels somatically, as I offer it to you in my body, just feels, I can feel my body softening and relaxing, opening with the beauty of this teaching from the Buddhist tradition of transforming our suffering, transforming our reality. In practical terms, how does it work? And so we begin by tuning in to this breath, knowing that breathing is happening right now. In this moment, nothing else is happening. If you're seated, standing, lying down. Sitting, standing, lying down is happening. So feeling your body into that and just that. Nothing extra, nothing else. Steadying the mind. And if you get knocked off, if the mind is wobbly, if the heart is tired, if you lose that connection with the present moment, then you know what to do from this teaching. With kindness, with understanding, with compassion, you simply begin again with the next breath, with the next sensation in the body, the next sound, whatever way in which you're connecting to the present moment with mindfulness, cultivating mindfulness. Keeping the practice going. And often we might have to begin again many times. To encourage yourself and not get disheartened. This is just how the practice unfolds, how it develops. And to celebrate each time you begin again. You're cultivating mindfulness, you're strengthening mindfulness. Just like any other areas where we wish to begin anew, to observe the energy of disheartenment or despair or suffering can pull us under, take us down for the count, or we can bring the energy of mindfulness to it and transform it. As Ty uses the metaphor of a flower, if you don't know how to take care of it, the flower will become garbage. And if you know how to care for garbage, for compost, it can turn into a flower, the flower of inner liberation, of transforming our suffering and the heart and mind. So a couple more minutes in silence together, in mindfulness together. In a moment, I'll invite the bell and just allowing the sound to once again wake you up so you can begin again out of the trance of thinking, worrying, planning, remembering. To breathe again mindfully, to sit again mindfully. Thank you for your practice, and please taking your time as you transition out of formal practice to feel free to stretch or move the body in any way that is supportive to you. Best not to be still and rigid, just to be soft and easy with your physical form. I wanted to, before we transition to questions, to just share that, habits can be so pernicious, and the energy of habits has a certain momentum to it. So it can be skillful to know how to work with it. So oftentimes, when we have the best of intentions to begin anew, to start with something new, a new habit, something that's beneficial or skillful in our lives, and then we start it, and then we stumble back, and it feels like, oh, this is just pointless, or we say or do something that we deeply regret. We know it's going to not have a good outcome, and yet we can almost watch ourselves, with a little bit of awareness, just fall down that rabbit hole again. And so how does one work with that? It can feel so difficult, and I can feel, again, this sense of despair, like, what's the point? It never gets better, or I'm never going to learn that thing, or this isn't just not for me, and then we just give up. So I think it can be really useful to remember, and I want to read you Thich Nhat Hanh's words here, where he says that to practice beginning anew, we have to learn how to handle the habit energy in us. Sometimes you say, it is stronger than me. Yes, it is strong, but that does not mean that we can do nothing about it. The Buddhist way of dealing with that habit energy is to recognize it as existing, and that is all. Excuse me. You don't have to fight it. You don't have to fight it. So this practice of recognition, of shining the light of awareness without judgment, without condemnation, it almost, what it does is if you keep shining the light on something, its power begins to weaken. It almost begins to start to get, starts to come apart. And that's a powerful thing. And that light that we can shine of awareness, of consciousness, of mindfulness, the source of that comes from our practice, from when we are aware of the breathing, when we're aware when we're eating or washing dishes or walking or talking to a friend or having a difficult conversation, and we're all present, we're there in it. That's what we're developing, that's what we're cultivating. So on the surface, these practices might seem, quote, simple, but they're anything but. They're incredibly powerful. Okay, I'll pause there because I can go on forever, but I want to give Suzanne an opportunity to chat, and if there's any questions.
Yeah, I'm just taking in what you said, because it is so important. And the way Ty has, all of his words are so wise, but there's just so many times that's useful to us, that the way we look at things, our practice helps us discern in our day-to-day lives. Yeah. So thank you for that. I'm reading some of the chat here. Yeah, reminding ourselves that you're human.
Beautiful, beautiful metaphor with the learning to walk. Yeah, so a lot of grace, letting go of perfectionism, and then encouraging yourself. And of course, it really helps to practice with others, because steadiness of mind, heartfulness, remembering, mindfulness, it's a good kind of rubs off on you. So if you're with others, you can harness that energy of mindfulness and strengthen it within yourself. And then in a way, your own practice is an offering to others. Because I think when we're by ourselves, that habit energy has sometimes can have more power because it doesn't have all of that other strength to offset it or to buffer it, for us to recognize that it's there. Most of the time, we're not even aware that it's pushing us.
Yeah, in the wrong direction, right?
Yes, exactly. In the wrong direction.
Well, I also, I think of the visual that comes to mind as a buoy in the ocean, that the practice as well as the community is that for us, where we could go into that despair or into that those tougher places without the support of our practice and our community. So
Yeah, beautifully said, Suzanne. And it's so in line, the imagery that you used with Thich Nhat Hanh. He uses the boat imagery a lot in his teachings, as you know, and a rock, the rock of suffering, of the burdens of our past misdeeds, if you will, on the ocean just sinks down. It takes us down, pulls, the undertow is too strong, it's too heavy. But if you put that rock on a boat, which is the community and our own practice, then it can hold it up. It can hold it up.
yeah, sure. And Teresa's connecting to one can always begin again. Yeah. And I agree about even, each moment there's an opportunity for that. But there's something about the morning that when you mentioned earlier, it's just it's a lovely reminder that it's a brand new 24 hours that is fresh, and opportunities abound for the day. So yeah.
Yeah, and good to also, sometimes I think with human nature, it can feel like, oh, brand new 24 hours. What am I going to get done? What am I going to get out of this day? So if you notice that kind of leaning forward, extractive energy, to just pause with that and remind yourself that the brand new 24 hours unfold as they will, and to bring in more of an allowing energy to, again, and that's the mindfulness, kind of a receptive, open awareness. Not so much because I know it within myself, not so much this grabbing energy of what am I going to get out of this day. And it's not that we individually are doing that. It's the cultural conditioning that pushes us toward that paradigm, and we can simply opt out of it and say, no. It's not about getting anything. It's about how we want to live and just keep arriving here in the now.
Thank you so much. And yeah, I think there's a lot of connection to this theme today. So I really appreciate you bringing it to us.
Okay.
And Janice mentioning that celebrating beginning again rather than seeing it as a failure is, a great way to think of it. Thank you to everyone for joining this morning and for being with our community. And thank you, Zeenat, for sharing your wisdom and sharing Ty's wisdom as well, because we can all live by his words in many ways.
A pleasure. Thank you all for being here. Thank you, Suzanne. Always enjoy spending time with you.
Yes, you as well, Zeenat. Yes, and thank you to everyone as well for joining. So we will see you tomorrow. If you can join tomorrow, we'd love to see you.
Okay.
And have a good rest of your day.
Bye.
Bye.